And thank you all viewers and participants who have joined in for today's session. On behalf of ManageEngine family, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to all partners, customers, and the viewers who are viewing this session for today. So we're going to talk about on session called security by design. What do we call the security by design for the digital workspace? So I'm just connecting back from the other sessions that's happening. We know we are migrating towards cloud, and on the other session, I was listening to a gentleman. He was talking about how it's going to be a hybrid place. You have cloud partially, you might have on-prem partially, and that's how big businesses might go in. So in all these environments, in this we call it as a digital workspace, how am I going to approach security? And we call it simply a simple phrase called security by design. That's what we want to call it. Now, before I go into my today's presentation, just want to give you small details about who we are. So what's ManageEngine is all about. ManageEngine is a division of Zoho Corporation, if people in India would understand who Zoho is. So we are a division of Zoho, and at Zoho, we have three different divisions. One is for the IoT management framework. It's called WebNMS. And the second one is the ManageEngine, where we have IT management solution. And the third wing would be Zoho brand itself, where it has all cloud-based products. It's completely makes you run your business. So that's the relationship that we have with Zoho. We ManageEngine manages your systems for business, and Zoho is your operating system that can drive your business. So we have different portfolios within ManageEngine. Just to give you a little overview of what we do at ManageEngine, what are the different product lines that we offer. So we have ID service management, in which you take care of your service desk, asset management, and it also has CMDB. All your ITIL requirements would be satisfied. You have a cloud application to do that. Then we have unified endpoint management that takes care of almost all your endpoint management needs, from endpoint security to application security, everything, patching, vulnerability assessment, all those comes under endpoint management. Then we have ID security management, SIEM products that gives you a good analytics about what's happening on your endpoints or on your devices. And we also have access management, identity and access management application too, that integrates with your Active Directory and Azure AD to give you a comprehensive access management reporting, and also helps you to run your access management too. And then we have IT operations management, network monitoring, application monitoring, alerting systems, all those dependency on on your application discovery. All those things come into IT operations. And finally, we have a good analytics AI that could integrate all our products and give you a solution or probably a report on how things are, and gives you a detailed study about those things. So this is just a overview of what ManageEngine is all about and what are the different product lines that we offer. And this is our journey so far in India. So this is our 25th year. So we're proud. It's a proud moment for us. 25 years with the organization, and how our journey in India was launched. In India, we started off with 2002, and then at 2013 we were at 1,000 plus customers. At 2017, we were at 6,000 customers, where we had this Made in India or Made for India campaign. Then today, right now, we are at 10,000 plus customers just in India. We have worldwide customers. We have offices across the globe, but this is our reach in India at the moment. 10,000 plus customers, famous brands are shown on the screens. So that's the transformation that we've been having in India, as ManageEngine brand. When I talk about transformation, I have a quick question for all of viewers. Who led the digital transformation of your company, right? We all know what a digital transformation is. And a lot of people might have answers like my CEO or my CFO or my CSO drove this digital transformation in my company. But in reality, the COVID-19 situation added as a catalyst, right? Though it began with your CSO or CIO or probably your CEOs who wanted to go with the digital transformation, but it's actually COVID-19 which pushed everybody off the limits. And everybody who thought a digital transformation or cloud movement or things like hybrid workspace. Probably by 2030, they were thinking about 10 years from now, but then the COVID-19 said, you have to do it right now. And that's when we all moved into a digital workspace or a complete digital transformation. I was talking to one of our customers in Malaysia, and he was saying he all had this backup business continuity plan, and he had a lot of ideas about how to take on the business when there is a crunch. But this COVID situation, they were a healthcare organization. When this COVID situation comes, they saw different scenarios that they never even dreamt of. So all their transformation, all their ideas, they were trying to rewrite a lot of business continuity plans and probably amend a lot of things. On reality, it was very, very different. So that's the kind of digital transformation that we are going through. Now, I want to talk about a one real use case that happened, and then let's go into the security and see how we can secure it. To understand that better, let's see what happened in US recently, right? There was a supply chain attack. Everybody is aware of this supply chain attack that happened, where this was a legitimate software that sits there on all the endpoints, right? And what happened was these the guys, the attackers, took an illegitimate code and put that on the updates that the application receives. So this application is a legitimate application which had a lot of access on your endpoints, and this was just sitting there. The updates should be taken up from the vendor websites, but then these guys managed to put that code, malicious code, inside the update, legitimate update that these application gets. Finally, what happened, because this application was legitimate, it was allowed to run on all the endpoints. The code was also run. There was a huge amount of data theft that happened, and there was a lot of breaches in a lot of US organizations. That's what happened. Now I'm looking at it from a very, very different perspective. If I have to look at it, I see it as excessive administrative privileges for different applications that's sitting there at the endpoint. So when you have different applications that sits there at the endpoint level with too much of administrative privilege, that can cause these type of issues. I mean, if you could go online and probably try to search and see what this supply chain attack means, it people talk about how to reduce this supply chain attack, and they say probably it may not be even possible to completely eradicate the supply chain attacks. That's one of the reasons. And if you have too much of privilege for an application that sits there on the installation on an endpoint level, that's going to cause a real problem. So that's one of the examples that I want to go. So what is the solution? How should I approach the security when it comes to the infrastructure? I put it as solution by security by design, right? You have to adopt security when you design, when you format the policy, when you go ahead, and it should be a philosophy that takes into your IT management. I will always put it as your IT operations team, your IT security team should work hand in hand, so that this entire security should be going as by a design of how you are going to how the entire business is going to get operated. How do I understand it? One more analogy, right? Let's talk about the train travel and air travel, right? Everybody knows what's a train travel and air travel, especially in India, right? So both take us from one point to the other point. That's the nature of the traveling, right? They take from destination A to destination B. However, in an air travel, you reduce the time. You don't take so much time, just like how you travel on a train travel. On an air travel, it takes you faster. On an air travel, I mean, on a train travel, it takes you long time. And I equate this to productivity, meaning I take only less time for travel. Thereby, I get more time. I save more time, which, in my opinion, is being productive. I get more productivity there. And thereby, if you look at the security, the level of security that's offered on an air travel compared to that of train travel is very high on an air travel, right? Everybody knows you can't behave the same way as you behave on a train, especially in India. We know that, right? You have extra security, and whether you like it or not, you have no choice. If you're not on time, the aircraft leaves, and you can't do the same things that you do on a train. So when you say higher productivity or higher value assets, you tend to go with higher security, right? Even in the applications that we have, the devices that we have, different applications that we are going to get connected. It could be a cloud-based applications or probably a hybrid workspace.
whichever applications that we have in our environment, if it's going to be a high value asset, which means it requires higher level of security. One such higher level of security is the concept called zero trust, right? It is very, very important that we adapt this zero trust into our environment, right? Where you don't trust anymore. You no longer trust to probably understand what Zetna is all about. You for example, you have a laptop that you carry down to your office. Now the moment you connect your laptop, you get access to your LAN. Previously, what we say, okay, it's an office laptop, I recognize this device, I give complete access to this laptop. No, right now, even though you know this device, you don't trust it until you verify it. There is no trust but verify model, but you go to a verify first, and even though it's yours, you will have to go into trust. That's the kind of zero trust. And it's not only adapting the zero trust for the applications level, but it's more of a philosophy. Every aspect of security that you design, when you choose an application for cloud, or when you choose an application for an endpoint, when you choose a management system, you should adopt this zero trust philosophy in it. What do I mean by that? First point, keep your users off your corporate network while you still provide access to these applications. That's one of the foremost important thing. You provide access to the applications, but try to keep them off your corporate network. No access for your corporate network where you have your information, which is gold. Now the second thing is, try to enforce single sign-on from a security aspect. Go for single sign-on for all the applications, be it a SaaS or be it an on-premise. You go for a single sign-on, enforce it. If it's going to be bring your own internet, I say it at BYOI. Everybody heard BIOD, but it's BIOI, because whatever you're doing it at the customer's own internet. Today, work from home. Now, not everybody is at office. Everybody are working from home. Their internet, their bandwidth. You will have to harness those internet, and probably you may not have a lot of bandwidth in order to provide security. But whatever I have to do, whatever productivity I have to extract, I have to do it from the customers or the users place, right? So we'll have to make sure our applications are hidden whenever they're connected from them, unless they verify. You don't trust them and show your application. Enforce multi-factor authentication. That's a must for everybody. Multi-factor authentication should be enforced on every single logins that's happening. EDR and SIEM solution. So you must have a proper and a comprehensive EDR, endpoint detection and response. Even though we have all our applications on cloud or probably remote connectivity, we still have to have an EDR or SEM solutions to understand what's happening on the background, to make sure there is no unauthorized access that goes into our network, right? And finally, data encryption at all endpoints. Make sure your data is encrypted. On the last session, I was just listening, I was talking about data encryptions on rest or on movement. Yes, encryption is very, very important aspect of security. You must have proper encryptions in place for all the data that's going to be traveling around your endpoints or even on the cloud products as well, right? So while we talk about this zero trust philosophy, right, that's been adapted into the application, we also have to understand the security by design is not in the way of just connecting to your application, or the way you choose your application, or the way you manage your applications. It's important as an endpoint as well. Security by design is important because your endpoints are accessing these applications. Thereby, security at the endpoint level is also important. Let's look at an important data. I want you to look at this graph, right? This being focused on the World Economic Forum. Look at the third point that talks about cyber attacks and data frauds that's due to sustained shift in working patterns, which means we once worked from office, then we work from home, then partially we are trying back to come to the office. The way we connect to these applications from the endpoints, accessing these applications, while we keep shifting the working patterns of our users, they say 50% is a problem because cyber attacks and data frauds are happening because we keep changing the way that we operate our work. So that's going to be a very, very important aspect. That's why you also need a comprehensive security by design at your endpoints as well, right? While you access your cloud application. The first one that I talk about will be a comprehensive browser security. right? Because all our applications majority are moving into cloud workspace, though we have a small amount that comes from on-prem. But when you move majority of them on cloud, we have all these, we have accessing all these applications, at least majority, we are, connecting through our browsers. It's important, it's imperative that we have a comprehensive browser management, right? Why do I need it? Protect your network or probably your endpoints from breaches and vulnerabilities, and make sure there is no data leak that's going to happen through your browsers. So that's why we at ManageEngine also offer browser security for our endpoints, and we have a philosophy of how these browsers should be managed. If we think about it, we have to do a comprehensive add-on management. What add-ons to be are added to the endpoints? What are the permissions that are given to these add-ons? You can call it as add-ons, you can call it as extensions, you can call it as plugins, depending on the type of browsers that you use. But we need to have a comprehensive browser security that would take care of how you manage the add-ons. Then it's about preventing threat preventions, right? Threat preventions and data leak preventions. When you're using cloud-based applications, you should have a strict policy about how the certificates are handled when there is a cross scripting, or probably when they have too excessive ads or excessive inject codes that coming in from different websites. How is your browser going to handle all those? You must have a policy in place. In other ways, I would say compliance. Just like how you go for an endpoint compliance, you should have a comprehensive compliance for your browsers as well. How is your browser going to handle your data? And for example, if you have seen the CIS controls benchmarks, they have level 1 security, level 2 securities for how the browsers should be. Probably you can take a look at it. It talks about how you have to, one of the CIS benchmark says you have to disable background processing. The Chrome or popular browser, right, or any Chromium browsers has the ability to kickstart any application it wants, and even if you close the browser, it still keeps those applications running on the background. So you might go to a legitimate site, or probably they might have added, just like how we saw supply chains, right? If they have added something on the background, and if it was triggered by Chrome, then the moment you close the Chrome, it should also get closed. Those processes should also be killed. If it's not killed, then it's going to be a problem. That's one example of why you need browser security, and you ensure you have sandboxing approach for the corporate applications, that you have a secure, or I would put a secure platform to get connected to your applications. So ManageEngine offer, just to understand, if you would like to try, ManageEngine does offer securing your browsers from web-based attacks for all the different browsers that you have in the market. You could probably try this down. We'll have a comprehensive browser security in that. The second requirement that came to us, or that we saw when it comes to security by design, right? First in the browser. Second one is about a comprehensive vulnerability and assessment at the endpoint, right? When I say security by design, the second thing at the endpoint level, after securing your browsers, it's about a comprehensive vulnerability assessment. You need a solution that can take care of your known and unknown vulnerabilities. That's at the endpoint level, right? So when I say known vulnerabilities, it should be patching, application related patching process. You should take care of that, and it should also take care of unknown vulnerabilities that arise at the endpoint level, based on the protocols that you have that the applications are using, or at the configurations that are made at the endpoint level. Or example, TLS version, which TLS version is open on your endpoint, something like that. When I say endpoints, the vulnerabilities are everywhere, right? So you need a program that could address your known and unknown vulnerabilities. And you need a patch management as service, right? That's the new term that's coming in, where where you need a patch management that could take care of wherever we are, right? Wherever your application is, wherever your endpoint is, you need a patch management, comprehensive patch management. You need to patch them in their internet. You need to worry about the bandwidth that they have. You need to take care of all those aspects and do a proper patch management for them. You should be able to do peer-to-peer. You also should be able to time the updates. You should also be able to time the reboots. All those are requirements from the endpoint level. So when you go into security by design, right, not just at the application level, not at the browser level, but it's also at the endpoint level as well. So if you can go into these aspects, whatever I have discussed so far, it's a perfect, it should be a philosophy that's adopted. Zero trust network access, comprehensive vulnerability assessment, browsers that access your application should also be addressed. And finally, you should also have whitelisting and blacklisting of applications at your endpoint. So post pandemic, you should make sure what's my inventory of what are the applications I need, what are the applications that I don't need, blacklisting, whitelisting, controlling of applications, privileged application control. If you have all this, I would put it as security by design. Now, we at ManageEngine, we have different portfolios that we offer. Now, we have unified endpoint management. This is just a different array of products that we have. We have a unified solution that could address all your needs, right from vulnerability assessment to the endpoint security to the browser security, application level, filtering, or probably whitelisting and blacklisting. All those, OS imaging, even all those is available as part of unified endpoint security products. You could probably try those, and we will. You can get in touch with us if you need any help. With that thought, I'm going to wind up. And in case you guys have any questions, I'll probably take questions for now. Thank you very much for patiently listening to us. Thank you, one and all. I'll probably stay here for questions. If I find questions, I'll try to take those questions as well.